Hi, and welcome to India's number one construction podcast, BuildMate Podcast.
Hi and welcome to the BuildMate podcast. I am Rishabh Aggarwal, your podcaster friend, या आप कह लीजिए आपका BuildMate. Today I am here with a couple of my friends here. I would like them to introduce them to you.
Hi, my name is Shashank Jain. I'm an architect who graduated from NIT Bhopal in 2015. Post that, I have an 8 years of experience directly extensively working in construction industry at the execution and construction stage, implementing BIM and VDC and new digital technologies all across, working with different stakeholders. My past experience has been mostly on the MNCs and different multinational projects. And recently, I'm associated with a startup, a tech startup, Novatr, as a course director and program director.
Hi, I'm Vipanchi Handa. I'm an architect by profession, graduated from the School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi, and I am the co founder of Novatr. We are an edtech platform that is upskilling professionals in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry in tech first skills.
Great, yeah, good to have you guys over. Thank you so much, and thank you for doing this early morning because I know that you guys are busy folks. I actually want to share something with you. Yesterday, I shared a story on BuildMate podcast, and there's this comedian, there's this girl who's a civil engineer, and she says, "Hi, I'm a civil engineer. They taught me how to build buildings. They taught me how to build bridges. They taught me how to build tunnels. They did not teach me how to build a career out of it." This is something I see every day. Subah, sham, I get a lot of messages from civil engineers coming to me, "Sir, ये सब मुझे आता है, इतना ज्ञान मुझे मत दो, मुझे ये सब आता है. ये बताओ, जॉब कैसे लगेगी?"
That is so true. That takes me back to exactly where we started as well. So this was 2019. Graduated freshly, going to conquer the world as an architect. But first job, started getting some freelance projects. So that time it was Harkar and I trying to go around Gurgaon, see kahan pe projects like Camellias was coming up that time. So that's where we realized, while we had understood, learned a lot of theory, had no idea how to go out there and build a career out of it. Did not know half these words. BOQ kya hota hai? No idea about actually how does a building get built. So that's when we started, really we started talking to people. We started talking to our juniors. Went back to our college to figure out what went missing. And what we realized is that 90% of our college life was taught by professors who had not built a building in their life as well. So, we realize it's a lot of theory that is passed down. And when you actually go out there, there is very less to start out with, and you have to pretty much reinvent yourself in the profession. That's where Novatr came. And we started off very simple. It was just a couple of us conducting physical workshops. Those time to had no idea there's something like edtech, and started going out there talking to students. Went to Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, learned a lot of things, realized everyone feels the same. So
You're
probably
right.
that story, the reason it connects is because we've all felt it at some point, and we all need a certain direction in terms of what is actually going on in the industry. uh, Post obviously those initial simple beginnings, we realized there is a huge problem statement out there. As architects, we really wanted to solve for that, felt deeply for it. And eventually, as we kept growing, kept building, kept talking to more professionals, we in our journey, were lucky enough to get through Y Combinator, which gave us a huge insight into actually how tech companies are built. Again, as architects, had no idea about how to scale a company, how to bring through technology education to the masses. And that's where we started off, and since then it has been a crazy journey. We are now a team of, from 5, we are a team of 180 people who come each day to make sure we are bringing the best sort of education, bringing the best knowledge about the upcoming technologies to professionals, so that no one, once they graduate, feels like there's a huge gap and they are ready to conquer the industry.
Okay, so my experience in the reality जब मुझे struck की first time was during my thesis. I actually went on to do different case studies, and my thesis was purely on real estate, and I wanted to explore that domain a lot because India mein it's heavily booming every day. So I actually came to Gurgaon and went to see camellias, aralias, mongolias, and few things which stuck at that point of time in my head is, first of all, the product हम build करते हैं as an engineers or civil engineers or architects or construction professionals is a long delayed procedure. It takes at least 3-4 years to build a big project. So first of all, that process is slow. Second thing, the tools हम use कर रहे हैं अभी currently is outdated. Like concrete was initially invented by Romans and abhi bhi predominantly used ho raha hai, although there's a reasons about it. But when we talk about the adoption of technology, ये काफी slow है अभी industry में. And one of the reason there's a scarcity because आपको experience matters a lot than your tech skills when you go to apply for a job. And that's where I think this question which you got about why civil engineers are not prepared for career, that's one of the very relevant point. Absolutely. And I think how it differentiates from the ITs. IT adopted digital technology very early. And due to that, their productivity increased much, much faster. So they're able to do a job of 1 month in 1 day.
Yeah.
So this could also be possible in our case scenario, and it has already been going on. We just have to be explored and exposed to this.
Yeah. And research.
Yeah. Very much.
Bunch of people who are building their homes, especially in Delhi. Ab Delhi ke andar ek IIT hai, we're lucky that there's IIT Delhi here. I know for a fact that people go for material testing over there.
Yes.
They charge you a nominal fee and you can get your materials tested because they have world-class labs. That infra is there.
Yes.
Udhar ka civil engineer means something in this world out here, right? And they're doing research.
Yeah.
Bunch of new products coming in, LC3, whatnot.
Yes.
Great. What inspired the inclusion of BIM or in the skill set of civil engineers? And what was its underlying, rationale? Basically, why was it included for civil engineers? Can you please?
Yeah. So again, like I said, was from an architecture.
Yes.
I'm from an architecture background with my co-founders as well. And again, we started off from an architecture course, and the entire, all the students that came were from that particular background. Interestingly enough, 2 years back, we launched the BIM course. Now, again, building information modeling, why we did it is because while we were connected to the industry, we realized there's a huge demand of building information modeling, and people are upskilling. Again, colleges this is not something as a subject that is taught, but in the industry, everyone is adopting to it. So that time the understanding was, okay, we need to start bringing in this technology, connected with all the professionals in our network to build this course. The first course, cohort 1 as we call it, in that there were 2, let's say, people not from the architecture space, 2 students that had enrolled who were from civil space, who were very curious to understand architecture ke kya processes hain with this particular technology.
Yeah.
And trust me, when we say, it's, there's a typical saying that it's rather than just about imparting knowledge, you also learn a lot when you are teaching people and when you're with your bunch of students. We learned a lot in that sense from these 2 learners who were from a civil background. And they used to, one of the learners used to message us every weekend to our course directors saying, can you add these topics also? And because we were also growing and we are still growing, we took that as feedback and started adding more modules, adding more electives, started to contact people in our circle who were civil engineers saying, okay, can you teach this subject? Our student wants to learn this. And just through that, very organically, we started adding more civil-based specialized modules to our course. And from there, it kept growing. We started getting more interest from civil engineers saying that, okay, we are also interested in learning. Another interesting point was that civil engineers wanted to be part of it because they got an opportunity to work alongside architects and say, acha, what are the processes on the other side of things? Because that itself gives them an advantage. So that's how we started off. Soon we started getting so much interest. We decided to, sort of divide these into 2 courses in itself. And that's where
Can you talk about that? Can you talk about the batches that are ongoing right now for civil engineers?
So Shashank is the course director for the BIM civil cohorts, and currently we have already launched our first cohort, so that's ongoing. We are going to be launching our second cohort on 16th of September. And I mean, there's no turning back. I guess Shashank can talk more about, what goes
Please
on.
tell us, boss.
Sure. So to add on few points, जो
Yeah.
मुझे लगता है कि civil engineers के लिए predominantly they are more into execution and construction stages.
Yes.
And when we talk about BIM, पहले fundamentally समझते हैं कि BIM use case कैसे होता है.
ठीक है.
So सबसे पहले तो why BIM has become a most talked about topic in the industry these days is it is actually touch basing on different multitudes of use case in the industry. So it's not specific to designers or architects to build the models.
Okay.
So the fundamental is basically using BIM, you actually build up a model. Model जो है वो एक simulated environment create करता है. It is actually a digital representation of your final product.
Okay.
And it is connected with a lot of information which day in, day out, engineers used to handle. Now, if you have a common repository, it becomes easy to make a sense out of it. It is similar to how you do dashboards out of Excel. So, आप जब एक Excel में data entry करते हो,
Right.
you have to have the data mining first.
Yes.
तो जब वो data एक साथ collect होता है, उसके बाद ही predictive analysis and different analysis comes along. So, model is actually that repository, which helps you collate information all together in one point. And then you can make a use case in differently. For example, quantity takeoff,
Yeah.
cost estimation, then sequencing, helping in the quality of the construction.
Yeah.
Essentially, all these are major parameters जो कोई भी एक project manager
Workflow?
Yes, workflow, absolutely. So basically, your entire workflow is driven right now from drawings to majorly on the models, and it is very easy as well because models जब आप build करते हो, it is easy to change it, and once you change it, the drawings automatically change. So the revisions है वो बहुत faster हो जाते हैं, and the delay is less.
Okay.
So your schedule is much more optimized.
Okay.
So eventually, it's like a full stretch expanded value proposition which comes with them, and that's where engineers should be aware about it because architects has limited exposure when it comes to final quality of the building.
Okay.
They design it, they actually make sure that the materials and everything has been value engineered, but in the end of the day, there are different stakeholders in the industry, right? Not one person can build the project. So isliye it's important that us people who are directly associated with the final product building should know about it.
You mentioned different aspects of BIM, right?
Yeah.
What are the primary benefits of adopting BIM as a technology?
Okay, so like I said, it's actually a digital representation of the physical world.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Now, what it helps, ये तीन चीज facilitate करता है. First of all, it's about collaboration.
Okay.
Now, like I said, construction बहुत complex procedure है. We all are aware about it.
Yes.
And every student who graduated, जो भी college से निकला होगा ना, पहली बार उसको पता ही नहीं होता है कि लोग कर क्या रहे हैं. It's a silos. You would know that engineers are doing the job, but you would not be aware about superintendent, contractors, subcontractors, or even the design consultants. They're also equally part of it.
Yeah.
And without plugging in everyone, you can't actually have a final proposition of value. So first is it facilitates and make it easier as a collaborative platform.
Okay.
Second, it also helps you in doing coordinations. Now, coordinations are essentially required because building is constructed of different elements.
Yeah.
Somebody would be experts in ceiling designing, paints, walls, and floors.
Absolutely. Yes.
Somebody who's responsible for executing layouts of routing of services,
Yes.
which is ducting and whatnot. तो ये सब चीज़ें अलग अलग स्टेक होल्डर्स डिजाइन करते हैं, बट आर दे स्पीकिंग विद ईच अदर? लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने डक्ट प्लान कर दिया, इफ देयर इज अ बीम एंड अ कॉलम हु इज ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिंग, एंड बेस्ड ऑन द डिजाइन एनालिसिस आई कैन कट थ्रू इट, और स्लीव्स भी नहीं प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं. द सॉल्यूशन, सो एंड रिजल्ट इज लॉस ऑफ मनी, लॉस ऑफ टाइम, डिले, लेबर एंड ऑल नॉट. सो ऑल दिस कुड बी सिमुलेटेड अर्ली, और ये रिजोल्यूशन अर्ली रिजॉल्व सकते हैं. एंड फाइनली द थर्ड विच इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट यूज केस इज विजुअलाइजेशन, where you actually have a tool जब आप digitally हर चीज़ों situations को simulate कर सकते हैं. A very good example would be safety training. Now you have a site. If you build a site digitally, you'd be able to see कौन से hazardous spaces है, which would, and at what time of my construction journey, because there will be crane movements, there will be machine movements, and construction industry में heavy machines use होती है. And there's a huge risk of safety as well when you also go to high-rise building construction. So all this could be integrated using BIM technologies.
Very nice. Globally, it's adopted more or less in major countries at least. India का क्या scene है?
I think you'd be shocked to know that India is actually in the forefront of adopting it very fast-paced. Like, if I mention you some of the projects, like Statue of Unity, and the new terminal which is being in Bangalore right now, and the Delhi one which is being built right now, all are completely based on BIM platform. They are actually utilizing it.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah. So even though we feel that India में चीज़ें late start होती है,
especially construction को लेके.
Exactly, construction को लेके, that's like a pretty myth जो काफ़ी famous भी है. But then I'm pretty confidently saying this because I've also been a part of the journey where I was working in this project directly, indirectly.
Okay.
During my last experience.
Statue of Unity.
Yes.
Very nice.
So in my last company's experience, I was working with team who were building projects on Statue of Unity, and then Bangalore Airport and Delhi Airport as well.
Yeah.
So these are like big projects. I would say, on the contrary, if you see the ceiling project and the coastal link projects which are coming in Mumbai, heavy projects, these are completely based out of BIM now.
Okay.
So the adoption is directly coming from a government mandate. I think recently एक न्यू चीज जो शिफ्ट हुई है इंडस्ट्री में कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल ऑब्लिगेशन आ गया सो द ओनर्स आर मोर अवेयर अबाउट इट द ओनर रेप्स द पीएमसीज आर अवेयर अबाउट इट एंड द गवर्नमेंट बॉडीज आर अवेयर अबाउट इट so once they're aware about it they wanted to keep it in the contract and if let's say even if you're a good contractor or a good design consultant and if you're not aware of the tech savvy use of BIM I think somehow you're losing the competition and you're losing on opportunities. For example, I'll say you Jewar Airport which is coming in Noida. There was a big competition and larger MNCs come over there because they already have inbuilt BIM so उनको पहली priority मिल जाती है and even if you're an Indian company which is good at it and you know all the context about it you'll not be in the race. So that's where ये एक FOMO create हो जाता है and you have to actually work on basically improving yourselves and whosoever does it first wins the race.
Yeah, first mover's advantage,
yes,
right?
First mover's advantage.
This is something I was discussing with a friend of mine in a previous podcast. अभी वो हमने release भी नहीं किया है but अभी record हुआ है. We were talking about the current government and how this current government, especially in infra, they're adapting to new tech so quickly and they're asking people to do it.
Yes.
They are bringing in the tech. They're saying, ये क्यों नहीं use कर रहे तुम? Why are you wasting time? Why are you wasting money? Why are you wasting labor? Why are you wasting energy? They are bringing in those new things. घरों में कभी भी GFRP, CFRP टाइप के materials use नहीं हुए हैं. आपको पता है highways में use हो रहे हैं.
Yes.
And it's amazing. And the government is pushing them. BIS code आ जाएगा. Work on French codes चलेगा.
Correct.
Do it. Great. Who should be enrolling into BIM? And why is it not for everybody?
I think architects, engineers, civil engineers, structural engineers, or be it any specialized engineers who execute infrastructure or any building product or a build environment, they should absolutely do it. The construction managers and project managers, they should be a part of it. And anybody who's on the forefront of building a product like a building or infrastructure, they should absolutely adopt it first.
Okay.
Because essentially what BIM is doing is helping them facilitate in saving few things, which is time, cost, and improving the quality and finally the safety part of it.
Okay.
So like you're also aware about it, construction industry is one of the major contributor to carbon emissions and waste and whatnot.
100%.
And हम सब बातें करते रहते हैं, but इसका solution निकालने के लिए nobody comes in the forefront. Like even people are conventionally stick to the procedure because there are too few reasons.
We've signed COP27 now. हमें comply करना है.
Yeah.
2030 के goals हैं, 2050 के goals हैं, अब तो we have to move towards it.
So to do that, first of all, few things we have to analyze is this labor skill set we have. So we are heavily dependent on it. For example, if you're going to construct a building, you'll be dependent on contractor, what is his capability, and वो जो बना पाएगा उसी के through design होता है.
80%.
Yes.
जो वो बोलेंगे वही होगा.
Correct.
Yes.
So even if you propose a new material, skill set ही नहीं है.
नहीं है.
To cut it, to execute it, or to make sure that it is done. So that is first of all to be facilitated. And second thing, I think if you adopt the tools like BIM and digital technology, it becomes easier for you to also showcase complex tools को कैसे easily execute करना है.
Really?
Yeah.
It helps you to use your new tech in an effective way?
Yeah. So I'll give you a small example.
Yeah,
let's say you all must have gone to Mumbai Airport T2 terminal.
Of course, yes.
You've seen those precast blocks which are actually creating the organic form of columns and piers over there.
Yes.
Now, the installation for that, a normal labor who have worked on brick and mortar would not be easy for them to do it.
Yes.
So to train those people, if you create a simulation or a construction sequencing model where you actually show that crane se kaise lift hoga, how the labors would be located, what all things could be done easily, that becomes a sort of a training for them then and there. And it's easy to build. It could be done in a week's time.
So you're saying we can create a model using this tech and you can explain it, train them better in a way?
Yeah, like I said, model becomes a common center point. You can extract videos, simulations जो easy बता सकते हैं जैसे हम train करते हैं कैसे करते हैं. We'll just execute it on physical as a physical mock-up and then ask them to do it there. Why don't you have a virtual mock-up and ask them to train through it?
Okay.
That is also very important tool factor for them to adopt new technology.
और ऐसा नहीं सीखना नहीं चाहते हैं.
ऐसा नहीं
interactive method नहीं है जिससे वो समझ सकें and then they can apply to it.
Correct.
Great. This is amazing. Can you offer your guidance to existing professionals today so that they can easily or smoothly adopt them? Is there a way that you guys can guide them?
Yeah, I think I can speak a lot about my journey as well.
Okay.
Because even though I graduated as an architect, I was lucky enough to get an exposure to work directly with construction managers, CX, PX, civil engineers, structural
Right.
engineers, and many stakeholders.
Mm.
And I feel that first of all, as a budding engineer, you should look at opportunities to first of all understand the different stakeholders altogether. So get an opportunity to work with them directly on real projects and understand their pain points.
Okay.
Second thing, it is very important for you to stay upfront with the technological trends coming along these days. BIM kya hai? BIM is a childbirth of a concept which actually allowed integration of technology advancement from other industry into construction.
ठीक है.
Like I would say a very basic example of 3D printing, everybody's aware about it.
Hmm.
What is the core crux idea about behind it was the rapid prototyping.
Yes.
Now rapid prototyping was introduced जब industries बनना शुरू हुई थी तो सबको quick product चाहिए थे फटाफट जैसे bottles बनानी है.
Yeah.
So if the rapid prototyping was introduced, and through that the 3D printing actually came into the position where robots and the machines could build
Yes.
things by a sequence.
Yes.
So now, and I think recently in the last decade, अब ये construction industry में भी again, I think China is again in the forefront of it.
Hmm.
Even some Scandinavian countries are also started the startups who are doing it.
Hmm.
So that's like one of the example. BIM is again an integration coming from a different industry
Yeah.
where computing और ये सब tools को use करके बनाया गया था.
Hmm.
So similarly that will keep on coming. I would say examples like AR, virtual reality,
Yes.
gaming के through आया है. But then it is not limited to that. We are doing it
Of
in
course.
our industry. I'll give you an example. I did a safety training using VR.
Okay.
So we built the VR immersive environment for high-story buildings. You actually have to train laborers.
Okay.
Your laborers can't directly work on it. You have to sense that physically they are fit to work on high scales, high levels. So we built a virtual mock-up environment. We asked them to use that, and it was almost an immersive environment. They tested it. Whosoever passed were given the opportunity to do it, and this was not possible without a physical mock-up to be built.
Wow.
So VR could be used there.
Amazing. ये आपने कुछ amazing बात बताई मुझे. I never thought that this could be done to train people, especially when you're talking about labor, unskilled labor. तो ये तो बहुत बड़ी achievement है यार.
बहुत बड़ी achievement.
And this kind of tech helps.
Exactly. There, right? I'll give you one other example of VR. Like आप कभी भी real estate में property purchase करने जाते हैं.
Yeah.
You see that sample flats.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of huge investment in infrastructure
100%, yes.
to set it up. Why don't you do it in the immersive environment and ask them to come on VR? They'll be able to see the exact daylighting, exact materials, and they can shuffle the materials as well. For that matter.
I know for a fact there are some companies, individual private groups हैं बड़े-बड़े. They are basically trying to create building material markets based on AI and VR.
Correct.
I've had a demo of one such company. और वो सेटअप करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं different centers around Delhi and NCR first as a pilot, and then they'll replicate it all over the country. The tech has reached a point where you're wearing those sensory gloves, right? And you're able, when you turn the faucet on, you feel the water. So you can actually feel the droplet on your skin, and you can just feel it rolling on your hands. It's reached that stage today.
I'll tell you, there's an interesting point which I was also working in a project, and I got to know that there are exoskeletons being built these days. So our laborers get lethargic very easily. Like if you're working on a 14-hour shift or 12-hour shift, it's very natural for you to lose the energy and stuff. So exoskeletons are actually a skeleton, a virtual skeletal built to connect it to your body, and it is easy for you to handle large tools which are used day in day out. So you can actually connect it to it, and then basically it can also be converted into a chair. You must have seen आजकल वो chair भी हो गई है, so you can relax and sit down. So basically that's again an integration coming from a different industry. So everybody nowadays, it's not restricted to the construction industry में जो innovation होंगे वो AC ही लाएंगे. Even the coders are bringing it. So you have to be aware about it, and you have to be on the forefront of it.
So sorry, just to add to this, we were like a couple of months back, we were going through this report which talked about that construction industry till now has been the least digitized after agriculture.
It is, yes.
And you know what's interesting to us is that based on how Shashank is also talking about it, that there is a lot of technology that has now started to seep in. It's pretty much on us to see where we take it. It's there. It's just what we make out of it. And I think that's the thought process that needs to be shifted. That technology is not bad. It's for us and it's for our good rather than the other way around. So, for example, in the entire how usually industries get disrupted, the technology is the first to be created. So, for
100%.
example, rapid prototyping.
100%.
That's where then the tools come in, and finally the people need to adopt to that tool.
Yeah.
So in our construction industry, technology aa gayi hai. Tools bhi now are getting developed. Construction tech is one of the most booming industry from even an investment standpoint as of now. And now it's on the people to catch up to that technology and tools.
To the point that there are dedicated exhibitions for construction tech.
Yes.
पहले सिर्फ tech के होते थे,
Yeah.
and it was anything and everything.
Yeah.
Now there are dedicated construction tech setups around the world. Like you can go to China, Italy, anywhere, and they're having these huge, massive conventions.
So I'll
and
tell you, when I was working with my MNC, different
Yeah.
companies from North America aspects, the people over there used to attend this technological conferences which you're speaking.
Yeah.
They're not specific to construction, but
Yeah.
they just go and see what has been coming in the different industries.
But Shashank, उन लोगों को क्या जो जाते हैं देखने, they want to see, they're inquisitive, but they don't want to adapt.
Exactly.
That is another challenge, no?
So yeah, the challenge will be there. There are few reasons behind it. पहली बात तो ये है कि again there's a cost investment when it comes to adopting any new tool.
Okay.
So either it could be in the machinery or the infrastructure setup,
Yeah.
but again it has to be a visionary aspect that whatever you are spending right now, you'll have a larger ROI if you help it in changing your workflow altogether. और आपको एक like we said that you will actually be on the forefront of adopting it and the people will recognize this.
Yeah, first movers.
Second thing, it is also important to understand that people are resistant to changes. ये बहुत common है हमारी industry में.
Status quo सबको अच्छा लगता है.
Yeah, and I would also say, and I think I would be apologetic about it as well, but a larger decisions have been made in the industry by the people who are aged more than 50 years and 60 years.
It's okay.
So that's
Fixed mindset, basically,
fixed
that's
mindset,
what you're saying.
Yeah, and we are okay with it. The only point is the vision is limited. So now that the youth is coming into place,
Youth is different.
it is very different. And
Youth is very different. 22 साल का लड़का texts me, says, "Sir, I don't come from a business family, but आपका AC block का episode देखा. I want to open a plant. कैसे कर सकता हूँ?"
See,
I'm like, 22 साल का यार, तू अभी पढ़ तो ले. And he's like, पढ़ाई कर लेंगे.
exactly.
I want to do something big in construction. There is that drive, there is that ambition, there is that willingness to adopt and learn.
Correct.
Everybody wants to, they just want to update themselves at whatever cost, and availability. आप घर बैठे पढ़ सकते हो यार.
Very easy these days.
There are so many tools available now. Like we're talking about yours, the course that you're offering is online.
Yeah.
Right?
It's completely online.
It's 6 months, 8 months?
Yeah. For the civil engineers, it's 8 months.
8 months.
Yeah.
8 महीने के अंदर, I am equipping myself with a new tech, which is soon to be adapted in a larger way. So I am an early entrant into it.
I would say it's already adapted. It's already adapted.
It's already adapted, you would say that?
Yeah,
But
it's already adapted.
to boom up,
Yeah,
to
it has to
scale
be.
up,
Yes.
we are at the brink of it.
Yeah, the wave has started.
The wave has started.
Correct.
And if I catch it, I'll probably
You'll be the
surf higher,
forefront.
right?
Absolutely.
This brings me to my next question, and sort of an interesting one. How are you helping the careers of these civil engineers जिनको career building नहीं सीखा, बाकी सब building सीख लिया उन्होंने? How are you helping them? Please tell me.
So, firstly, in terms of why we keep it. So, first question, I'll
Yes,
answer. You had
please.
mentioned 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Feels a very long time for,
not.
us. Again, we have professionals who are parallelly managing their colleges or
yeah, of
parallelly
course.
working. And this has been built in a way that helps them while they're working to
Yeah.
continuously upskill, learn things on a weekly basis, learn from people sitting in India, sitting in US, sitting in Australia. So understanding not just what's happening here, what's happening everywhere, so that you can bring it. And in terms of career, so firstly, I think any kind of career growth first starts with awareness. हो क्या रहा है
Yes.
दुनिया में.
Absolutely.
Until you don't know it, otherwise mostly career awareness is around acha, what is my neighbor's uncle advising me to do?
Yes.
And that's the
Limitation
probably
of
the
it,
best
yes.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Peer pressure.
yeah, so sabse pehle it starts with career awareness, which is the first thing, and that's why our course entirely is taught by professionals who are actually out there building things, are working their continuous 9 to 5 jobs and bringing all that knowledge on the weekends to our learners. And that's the first part of career building. The second part of career building is the kind of assistance we do. So what we realize is it's not just about the knowledge you get. At the end of the day, sell करना होता है अपने आप को, and you have to talk about what you have learned. So a parallel part, which is part of a career assistance through this entire 6-7 month journey, is that from day one itself, we'll continuously start having, talks about how to actually talk about your work, how to create your portfolio through the projects that you're doing. These projects, Shashank can talk about more, but it is real life projects that have been implemented somewhere, and they have been condensed in a format that you can learn from it. So it's like, parallel, let's say if you were doing an internship, the kind of knowledge and learning you would
Yeah.
have. So towards the end of the course, you get your portfolio, you have, career assistance and sort of mentorship by our industry experts,
Nice.
okay, how to position yourselves, where to send out your portfolio so that, you get that foot in the
Yes.
door.
Yes.
And we obviously, like, our in-house teams again help guide learners ki acha, based on your interest, this is where you can apply. And these are the kind of opportunities there in the market. So interestingly enough, I was telling you earlier about this, that yesterday we guys managed to place 100 learners through our courses. So
Awesome.
we've hit that major milestone as a
Nice.
company.
Yes.
And definitely what we understand is that there is a lot more opportunities opening up in the market as we speak.
Mm.
And our goal as a company is to constantly give the right awareness and give the right direction to our learners.
Mm.
And just through that, it's not about handholding. Just through that two things, we've seen our learners, grab those opportunities, because now they are mentally prepared to, go out there, talk about what they've learned, sell themselves in the right way in
Yeah.
terms of showcasing their
Yes.
skills. And that's how, we've been providing that career awareness, because we understand it's not just about knowledge. It's at the end of the
Definitely
day,
is
the career.
just not about that. One of the things that I miss, especially 4 साल engineering, 2 साल masters, and then maybe some, is that nobody ever taught me how to network.
Correct. Very
College
important.
में किसी ने नहीं सिखाया कि
Very important.
ये skill set तो ले लिया तुमने, and now you've learned this tech. And by the way, I've done engineering both,
Yeah.
masters and graduate level both, right? Engineer समझ में आ गया, अभी engineering गाड़ी भी बना लिया, सब कुछ कर लिया, right? But I don't know how to sell myself.
Correct.
So this is a very, very major aspect of
Yes.
understanding how to build that building and build that career. That was a miss.
There are a few points which I would also like to add on to this. Is first of all, the curriculum which we design.
Yeah.
It's heavily based on the research we do from multiple fields. First of all, what our learners or the prospective engineers, budding engineers are looking out for. Second thing, the heavy decision making comes from the hiring partners. Essentially, sabko karna kya hai, they also wanted to get job placed and wanted to contribute on projects real life. It's not like an aspirational course we are selling. We are actually making them professional to gateway entry to big companies who are working on projects like Statue of Unity or whatnot. So basically, a lot of research comes from there, and the curriculum is built in a manner, and also from the industry guides, like we mentioned, that we have people who are experts in the industry who are contributing and being driven to give this teaching across from different global context. So we get a lot of research, make the curriculum very specific to the current domain. Now, the second thing we also impart as designing of the course is revisiting it and revamping it day in, day out, because technology का जो एक बड़ा फंडा है अभी, I think few decades back, any tech skill has a lifespan of 20 years.
Okay.
Like if you learn something for the next 10-20 years, you'll be able to execute.
Evolution, yes.
You'll be, I would say, relevant in the industry.
Yeah.
But these days, if you learn something, in the next 5 years, it will be either changed or you have to make yourself upskilling. So this, we are very much aware about these things. And I think in the coming decades, I think it's going to be reduced to 3 years or 2 years or whatnot. Because just तरह से AI and everything is integrating day in day out to everywhere, I would say you have to be in the forefront of it. So how we started our journey in the architecture, like Vipanchi said, and I mentioned that we were not aware about BIM completely. But when we start working on it, we upskilled ourselves by taking some courses or even networking, like you rightly said, वो networking करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. You have to connect with right people. So in our course, we make sure they're learning the fundamental concepts, but that's one part of it. The second part is assistance in terms of understanding how to connect with right kind of people. Because people think this is a very niche industry, बहुत limited job opportunities होगी, but ऐसा नहीं है. I mean, these days, even the developers, the real estate developers, the bureaucrats are actually asking to build their in-house team who can handle the technology. Everybody wants people who can handle this and make our lives easier. if you're on the forefront of it, you'll be given the opportunity. And
But niche से ही तो बाहर निकल के बड़े होते हो.
Exactly,
Niche तो
exactly.
जरूरी है.
Yeah.
We didn't anticipate growing as a podcast.
Yeah.
Niche है. It's a construction podcast.
Correct.
I was jumping this high when I got my first 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
And at 100K, I was telling my wife, it's not growing at the same pace. She's like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
What are you doing? So I am surprised what a niche can do.
Yeah.
And when you say niche is not bad. If you're actually first mover,
Yes.
then it's great, even better, right?
It's better.
Awesome. What are the advantages that the people who will participate in it, they will gain from your courses? And how do you ensure that the quality is uncompromising, basically? I wanted to speak to you about your instructors also, but that will follow right after this.
Sure. So, like I said, industry relevant course building is very important. So we always make sure that the hiring partners we have onboarded, and these hiring partners are nothing but the companies which are like larger top 5% companies in the world who are executing projects. We have people, experts directly working from there who also keep on auditing the quality of information we are giving them. So the research comes directly from them. The inception starts from there. And essentially the revamping which has been done. So it is done by the professionals like us and the industry experts who are already been there, worked on mega projects and know what is relevant. So like I said, we have a pool of more than 50 to 16 different industry experts across from globe right now. And these are like people who are having immense experience and impact on the larger projects. Right now, they are working on it. So they know what is coming in the industry latest by themselves. So education mein impart karna easy ho jata hai if you directly are connected with that. If there's a disconnect, it will always be lagging behind, which is the case with our industries and colleges we graduate from. So that's one. The third part of the quality, we have a capstone proposed by the end of every course we have. Now, what this capstone is, like Vipanchi mentioned, this is a real case project which has actually been executed in different parts of the world. We allow our students to actually go through a journey of completely building it in a group and simulating their roles as stakeholders.
Yeah.
Now, once you start doing this, you actually understand the real problems that might come along and how to execute and connect the BIM over there. So it's not like that you're learning a tool and in the end you will solve it by thinking about it, how to do it, but we are asking them to also check how to plug in a real case project. So that's where the major journey comes, and whatever they do over there comes as a part of the portfolio as well. So basically, essentially, everything which has been built is actually on the live scenarios. That's why we call our courses as professional courses rather than just tool training courses. Because, and this is one thing which I always follow in my life as well, and when I teach as well, that don't depend your skill set based on softwares. This will come and go.
Yes.
You have to understand the problem solving done using it. So, like I said, basically, if you adapt that mindset and technology, like the vision comes with it, you'll be able to adapt to anything which is coming along in your direction.
Go with the why.
Yeah. So that's what we teach in our courses as well.
So,
Very interesting.
So like I'll just quickly summarize and add to it. The first thing is definitely the global community, not just from our mentors, but the learners who study. So we'll have learners. You will be studying with learners who are from UAE, from US, from different parts of the world. So it's a lot of interaction. And second thing, guaranteed no theory, only practical stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
So everything is project based, even from day one. So it's not like it's one big project. Every small thing is taught through examples, live for our learners. And the third is the career assistance that happens, because knowledge without real life opportunities is nothing.
How much fun or how much enjoyment do you derive from this endeavor?
Oh, it's actually very exciting.
Yeah,
I mean,
immeasurable.
So I can actually vouch for that, because coming from an industry where I was actually practicing it and I was feeling this heat about why we have to actually train people every time we have a demand. And it has to be done in-house. So one of my job role when I promoted to being a project manager was to make sure that the people are rightly skill set available in my team or in other teams as well. And it's a pain for the companies because it's a non-business expenditure. Nobody wants to do it. But if you are already getting aware of, basically getting a pool of people who are aware about it and ready to adopt it, it becomes easier for you to execute on projects first. Okay. Second thing, when it comes to the designing of the course, I like the factor that we are actually doing a larger impact in the community, because right now, first of all, there's कोई भी close knit community नहीं थी अभी तक की BIM की. There are some which are very small and very specific, but people are not aware about it. So we're trying to give this exposure to the community coming along, or for the future, that we'll be building a large community where you'll be sharing knowledge with each other, and there'll be a forum as well. So that excites me. Second thing, very important, when you start connecting and building these things with industry experts, you learn as well. So like we were discussing कि हम सिर्फ जब सिखाते हैं, it's not about training, but you also learn yourselves how to make it much more improved version of it. So even from the learners and from the experts, we learn things to be taught in a different way. We try out different things. For example, sometimes videos, sometimes interactive tools. Like I can mention some like Mentimeter and whatnot. So we try these tools as well. We also try to basically use opportunities to speak directly with learners and companies as well.
Okay.
So that excites me, that I'm on the core of actually trying to make impact to different stakeholders, not just one. But I'm not impacting only the companies or the learners. It's also to everybody who's associated to it.
Okay.
So that's one of the great things I like. And the other thing is we also have are trying and are also becoming with a vision to be the I would say the flag bearer for any new tech adoption which is coming directly to the industry. So BIM is just a start of it. It's not that we will be limiting ourselves to it. And we already have plans and visions to think about next things which is coming along. So ये बहुत ही exciting feature होता है that even though sometimes when you're working on projects, you might not be able to do it, but when you're actually designing something for the community better, you have the opportunity to test it out and make it much more professional.
Yeah. And I can add to, the other. So this is from Shashank's perspective, from the other 170 people that wake up every day saying that we need to do something for
Absolutely, yes.
for the construction industry. What personally kept us all excited is that at the end of the course, when your 100 plus sort of graduates from the course who learned something, gone through that journey, when they say it changed my life, or they say that this is a best decision we've taken, that just one line at the end of that
That does it, right?
Yeah.
that is what
Feels
is
different.
that
yeah.
keeps us going.
Awesome. I'm not used to getting praise at all. I'm somebody who doesn't handle praise at all. I become very uncomfortable when somebody says, "You're doing a good job." I get texts from people who saying, "Sir, please carry this on. Nobody's done this." Like, नहीं भाई, इसका जवाब मुझे नहीं आता है. But I understand what you mean and where you come from when that happens. It's a very overwhelming feeling, and it's a very, very there's a lot of gratitude out there for all of you when you express that. This is about the course. I wanted to ask you a few questions, get into BIM a little bit more.
Sure.
The premier institutes in our country, are they not teaching BIM as a part of their curriculum right now?
That's a very good question, actually. And I think I can vouch for it as well, because we both come from premier institutes. We have done our graduation from there.
Yeah.
And I also have colleagues who come from some of the top institutes in the country. It has become a part of an elective, but it has not been given a prior recognition, which is essential for the industry.
Okay.
So even though the concept is purely defined towards understanding the core knowledge of construction, engineering, and designing, but BIM as a tool is not heavily being taught by the universities these days. There's a big gap, because again, the point coming from Vipanchi's factor that the professors which are teaching us does not have the experience to use it directly. Now, if the professors in the education institutes are not having their exposure, how will it make sure that that has been taught directly?
Right.
And again, there's also a conventional barrier that every institutes have a curriculum which has been predefined, and it's quite old. I would say for architects especially, it's older than a couple of decades or 3 decades, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's not been revised. Now, that's a shocking thing for everybody. We have a 5-year degree course, but we are not even revising it to make it efficient and more connected to latest trends.
The requirements of our construction have changed.
Yes. Absolutely.
The requirement of our living spaces have changed. Public spaces have changed. Public sector infrastructural requirements have changed.
Yeah.
Everything has changed, but
the
we are still
curriculum is
studying the same curriculum.
Yeah. So that has been one of the factors where we feel demotivated as a student when I come out of college. Even from a prestigious university, I was completely confused where to go next.
Confusion.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Okay.
that's the part of it, and that I think that somehow universities should acknowledge this, and I think it's relevant as well, because like I said, आपको upskilling करनी ही पड़ेगी. You can't avoid it.
Because it becomes an individualistic sort of a choice
Yes,
now. Now
yes,
you
yes,
have to upgrade
Yeah.
yourself. You
Yes.
have no other option.
करना ही पड़ेगा.
आपको करना ही पड़ेगा.
लोग MBA क्यों करते हैं after a certain amount of
Yeah,
experience?
exactly.
The reason being you have to get that organizational skills,
Yeah.
project manager skills and whatnot. So that's the same thing.
Doctors MBA कर रहे हैं.
Yeah,
कि चलो कुछ पैसा ज़्यादा मिल जाएगा eventually.
exactly.
People have to change their careers.
Yeah.
My neighbor is a doctor. 30 साल का experience है. He did his MBA now.
Wow.
Now he's running hospitals. Yeah, मैं management में ही
Okay.
ठीक.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done that, been there.
Correct.
No. Great. Now I want to touch a little bit upon the cost and the commitments that you guys offer, right? Because these courses are primarily for professionals. Now, how does Novatr consider or factor in the fact कि इनका budget क्या है, and you need to consider that, and their time commitments. How do you factor in that?
Okay. So for the entire commitment, again, our entire goal was to have a course that can be as valuable as a master's. So how we like to see it is that ideally, for any kind of master, especially in these kind of new upcoming subjects, you would go abroad. There would be a lot of commitment involved in that, not just money, time as well. Those 2 years that you could be parallelly working, you would go separately just to focus on a particular skill set gain. And our courses are designed to ensure that while you're working, you're also gaining on skill sets. So how we like to sort of position ourselves with respect to this is that we are an alternate to the masters that you would go for.
Yeah.
And an 8-month long course is how we've planned it out, where roughly based on let's say certain interesting options like EMI, etc., a professional can easily sort of enroll and
Yeah.
pay by themselves. So
Hmm.
again, we have professionals who are in the first, second year of post college graduation.
Okay.
So you would know that it is something wherein you are just starting off your career,
Yeah.
you're earning and you're supporting your upskilling. So that is the thought process that has gone into
And it's
it.
an investment in any case.
Yes.
Definitely.
So adding to this point, I would also like to mention a few things that once you upskill and you actually get a good opportunity after getting the upskilling to join a company and get a raise, it's actually a fractional value for you. You will not even bother about it after that. And the career trajectory which you will have new is actually going to be much more higher than what you currently have. Like example मैं देता हूँ आपको, for an engineer, there are different branches that they can start with. First could be operational, field-based jobs. Second could be quantity surveyor, cost estimator, desk-based job again. And the third one is getting into the specializations. Now, in all of this, you actually have to go through a journey of 20 to 25 years to become a manager or an executive.
Absolutely, yes.
And you have to have, and it is not replaceable. The reason being, projects slow हैं. And आपको कम से कम 10 projects का experience चाहिए अच्छा manager बनने के लिए. So there's a parallel journey which has been going in the digital transformation. In a one, I would say for myself, in 8 years of my duration, I've done more than 50, 60 projects.
Yeah.
On the adoption of EDC and BIM. And that gave me a lot of exposure. It's not important for you to become a master of one these days. You have to be jack of all. And that could be achieved easily through it. तो trajectory बहुत जल्दी grow हो जाती है.
Also, just to add to that, in our courses, usually people who do graduate, post that we easily see somewhere between like a 40 to 80%. There have been students who have been placed into Tata, L&T. So
Yeah.
a lot of opportunities. So again, as you said very rightly, an investment education is an investment at the end of the day.
100% it is. And you're not uprooting yourself from your current scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leaving your country, getting a culture
Exactly.
shock.
Culture shock.
मैं वो culture shock कभी नहीं भूल सकता. When I went to University of Michigan Ann Arbor, it
Okay.
was amazing. What an experience of 2 years I had.
Yeah.
Great it was.
Yeah.
Thankful that I was. It was a cultural shock for the first 6 months. None of them understood my English. They couldn't pronounce my name.
Yeah.
It was fun though, but I had to change my entire setting, leave everything behind.
Yeah.
And with the kind of certification course that you're giving, they can keep working, they can support themselves.
Yes.
They don't have to go out for those huge student loans, which
Correct.
I entered into. Great, sounds good. Talking about certifications, what at the end of the course, what kind of a recognition or certificate does a student get?
Okay, so definitely at the end of the course, We provide a BIM professional certification to all our students from Novatr. We as an institute are making sure that we are getting more industry recognized by our hiring partners, and hence there is a name that we are building for the Novatr certificates.
Okay.
Apart from that, we are also now have tie-ups with Autodesk, so we are an Autodesk education center. That is a much added value to our learners. And apart from that, we've also managed to get certain ties with the government, with NSDC, which is the National Skill Development Corporation, which talks about upskilling our professionals into technical and industry relevant skills. So all of this is something that, while we are getting more connects, is adding to the portfolio of our learners once they graduate.
I keep meeting a lot of professionals. You guys are architects. I keep meeting a lot of architects, civil engineers. I keep meeting industry experts in different companies who are now, let's say, in the steel industry or in the cement industry or in the concrete industry, right? They all have one thing in common to say: civil engineering is not a glamorous job, right?
Agree.
It's not. It's a very rustic, old school, on the site, hands-on. Roll your sleeves up, be in the mud sort of a job. But when you talk about BIM and you talk about upgrading and learning and investing in that skill set, it sort of gives me a feeling that I'm moving away from that non-glamorous, boring sort of a schedule into a little more organized, white-collar sort of a situation.
Yeah.
Am I correct in assuming that?
I think I completely agree on few factors that ये तो notion है ही कि engineers are non-glamorous job. And it's like dirty hands and stuff.
Yeah.
But when you adopt technologies, it actually makes you as a hybrid professional. How it helps is basically you're actually in the juxtaposition of few things. First of all, you work on a tech which could be worked at any platform. You're not bind out a field or any location geographically. But second thing, I completely agree to this factor that sites or field experience cannot be replaced. You have to work in the collaboration.
That's true.
So इसीलिए, although you will be there, still doing your hands dirty, but it will give you an option where you actually can also opt to a job profile where you are in the desk or in the house or in the trailer and directly contributing from there as well.
एक दिन तो जब मेरा कॉलर गंदा ना हो यार, मतलब
it will be much more than that,
right? I'm just basically joking about it, but I come from a history of building materials and construction in my family. It's not a glamorous business. It's a very boring business. Somebody asks me to explain what I do. यार ये नहीं समझ में आ रहा मुझे, right? But what is happening is we are updating ourselves in a way that my next generation probably can jump in.
Correct.
And it's not just about money.
Yes.
It is definitely about the work environment. It is definitely about growing as an individual and learning and actually enjoying your work.
Yes.
So I think updating yourself and getting that right skill set is a huge part of it.
It is.
And if you keep playing with the same cards or the same rules, you're going to get the same results always. Right? That is
and
where,
I think the second point which is also important is recognition.
Recognition. Yeah.
You get very fast recognitions if you contribute on solving a problem with a very easy and efficient manner.
Yes,
इंडस्ट्री में बहुत डिमांड है इस लोगों की जो सॉल्व कर सकें. एंड आई थिंक नॉट जस्ट मी बट किसी भी प्रोफेशनल से आप बात करेंगे जो एग्जीक्यूटिंग बिम ऑन द इंडस्ट्रीज राइट नाउ, दे विल से दिस दैट दे आर गेटिंग हाई रिकॉग्निशन व्हिच इज वेरी लेस इन सिविल इंजीनियरिंग. सो दैट्स लाइक अ बिग फैक्टर एज वेल.
All factors considered, all growth opportunities considered, future trends, what do you see?
I think there are much more to talk about future trends. So basically few things which I can say from here is BIM is actually a inception of an idea where a digital adoption have been started in the industry. Now from here onwards we can see further industries getting connected through integration with BIM. So abhi tak kya tha ki construction industry mein you have a lot of data but there was not a common repository which was missing all the time. Using BIM people are now able to make a common cloud based repository. So पहली चीज जो आएगी which I think is a very important part of the future trend is cloud collaboration. Second thing I can talk about is IoT integration, about the sensors and data extracted from it.
Yes.
Third is, which is called as the future of BIM, is also digital twins, development of digital twins, not only of the projects but of the job sites. Job sites are much more complex than projects. So that will be there, and I think AR and VR integration is also there. Finally, which I also see very much first adopters of integration is offshore construction and modular construction. because in the prefabrication you essentially have to have data sets ready and machines ko dena hota hai.
Prefab and precast?
Precast and prefab both.
Both.
So sometimes you work with machines or sometimes you work on factory settings where laborers are doing the job.
Okay.
But if you have the right amount of data, right clarity of data that could be fed to machines and then read it, it's a game
फिर
changer.
तो यार ये MVP consultants को भी चाहिए.
Yes, absolutely. सबसे ज़्यादा.
Very interesting.
So I would say the sheet metals which come on site and the ducting has been done.
Yeah.
You can actually get it prefabricated into different segments and just bolting करना है site. And that has been happening. I'll tell you, drywalls इतनी predominant नहीं है India में, but in the larger context of global, it is very predominant. So drywalls are made out of gypsum boards.
Yeah.
And there's some acoustic layers and also the studs, which are steel studs.
Framing structure.
Framing studs.
Yeah.
So these framing studs are coming out of sheet metals. They are being folded and molded.
Yeah.
There are factories being installed and owned by the contractors these days as a specialist unit. Jahan pe they're actually allowing machines to read through the data coming from models. For example, Tekla is a tool available by Trimble. It gives you an opportunity to actually extract the information in a manner that machine can read it.
Yeah.
Now the machine can read your sheets, it can read your quantity, and it can exactly cut the element in the unit part. So it becomes easy for you to assemble it on site.
We were talking about China building a hospital, 1,000-bed hospital, 7 din.
Yes.
Done and dusted.
Correct.
Chalo.
So
I think we can actually aim at a quick project, very quick project turnover, very quick solutions to everything.
So BIM facilitate karta hai IPD ko. IPD is Integrated Project Delivery.
Yeah.
And if you talk about that, it's actually a collaboration right at the start of it. Similar to a design share it.
Okay.
So once you start that, it becomes easier for decision making or काफी time save होता है.
Any prerequisites of enrolling into the course? Yeah, prereqs हैं, please.
There are few which are very minor, I would say. But कुछ चीजें जो बहुत essential है when you start adopting technology. First, fluency in English is very essential because अभी तक जो tools हम सिखाते हैं, जो processes हैं, वो native languages में नहीं आई है. So it's essential for you.
And plus your instructors are from elsewhere.
They are from global context. So it's all the classes happen in English.
English is mandatory.
It's mandatory. You have to have a good command of it if you have to excel. Second thing, you have to have a good command of also using the computer and text regarding Zoom calls or stuff like basics.
These are very basic.
So these are like basic requirements we have. And the third thing, which I think would also be a good part, would be to have a bit of an exposure towards the industry. A bit of an understanding how AC industry works, because you'll be able to connect your learning then.
Okay.
It won't be like a software training then for you.
Okay.
It will be much more like a professional training for you. That will be the only requirements.
Students who've already enrolled with you, especially civil engineers, I would love to share some testimonials, maybe their reviews on the courses that you guys have basically they've taken part in. Any last minute advice to my fellow civil engineers who are, I'm sorry, वो construction पीड़ित हैं.
Yeah.
And they love the job,
industry.
They love their tech, they love the industry. And आधे तो मुझे comments मारते हैं सर ये क्या है, अब छोड़ो मैं IT में जा रहा हूँ. So any last few words of advice that you would like to close this with?
So last, I think the only thing that everyone, no matter what industry, just needs to remember out of all of this is that technology is here, a lot of opportunities are here. It's just about what we make of it. And that would be the only thing that is stopping us from, sort of expanding what we are possible. And trust me, the opportunities are limitless. You yourself can create a lot of opportunities as long as you want to. So I think I would say, out of all of this, if the one thing that we can change as Novatr, and the one thing I would want everyone to change is the mindset of what we call the growth mindset, that anything is possible, and as long as you're out there willing to work on it, because nothing comes without you working on it.
So I'd like to add on what Vipanchi said, and as a good advice to our budding engineers is, you're actually into a golden era right now. Tech adoption itna easy ho gaya hai. Industries are asking for it. Why don't you go and upskill yourself? And don't limit yourselves to being a civil engineer. Explore the opportunity.
Yes.
It's a product you're building and there are multiple stakeholders. Just go there and test it out and whatnot. Maybe it's possible you could become a good superintendent or a CX or maybe a head of a technology. It's quite possible.
Sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. So don't restrict yourselves into that.
बिल्कुल. Don't fall into that rut. Ki bas yahi ab jo hai. There's a much more bigger world out there. We were talking about MEP and you know how this can help MEP guys.
Yes.
Are you doing something for MEP consultants and MEPF?
Yes. So, how from architecture we entered into the civil domain. Current next October, we are launching. Sorry, not next October. This coming October, we are launching a course just for MEP, MEPF professionals, and this is going to be a BIM for MEPF. So
Wow.
very focused around the kind of tools,
Amazing.
the understanding workflow that you need to excel
Amazing.
in this industry.
So, like you rightly mentioned, architects and civil engineers build the skeleton of the building, but the functionality and the building systems is driven by this
Yes.
people. So why don't they get exposure of it? And I think the biggest value would come when everybody is aware about it and they are actually executing their own side.
One of the biggest challenges in India is जो civil contractor है वो engineer नहीं है.
Yeah.
There is no license being given to a civil contractor, right?
Correct.
If you're बाहर देश में होता है.
Yeah.
You have to do civil engineering to be a civil contractor. You can change that. जितने भी civil engineers मुझे लिख के भेजते हो कि मैं करूं क्या अपने करियर के साथ, तुम्हें सोचना है क्या करना है. इतने सारे options available हैं. If you want to be a civil contractor, be a class 1 contractor, aim for it. There are a bunch of things that you guys can do. Skill, invest in yourself, invest in skills. Take out this Sunday. ये podcast भी उसी का part है. Sunday को time निकाला था, करना शुरू किया, and I started learning audio, video, whatever. And we are doing this. You guys are listening to me. इतना तो हो गया ना काबिल. कोई सवाल है? Write to me. Any questions? Just drop in all your questions at buildmatepodcast@gmail.com. I would love to connect you with Shashank Ji. I would love to connect you with Vipanchi. If there are any direct questions to Novatr that you have, you can please go through me. You can comment in the comment section in the videos. I'll be posting reels soon, right after the video. You can comment there and reach out. Please pour in your questions. Please, हिचक मत करो यार, सवाल पूछो मुझसे. Thank you so much. Have a great day.